friends, welcome to another episode on how to crochet for beginners. And whether you want to believe it or not, this is really easy to crochet and it's really suitable for beginners. Yeah, it's Saturday today, so I'm wearing my PJs, so no judgment on that. The tutorial is not difficult, it's very simple, it's basic. The only thing you need to pay attention to is the details. It's made out of two rectangles, front and back. You will need to measure your chest. Mine is 37. I like it a little loose, so I'll put 38 inches or 96.5 centimeters. We are gonna divide that by 2 and we will get 19 inches or 48 centimeters. If you like a little loose, add half an inch, a half an inch up to an inch, or 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters, totally up to you. You're gonna measure the length. So you would put the measuring tape where usually the seams are on the shoulders. Make sure to include your chest and make it as long as you want. Mine is 26 inches or 99 centimeters. How wide your collar is gonna be depends on how many rows you are gonna sew. I sewed together 6 rows on this side and 6 rows on this side. Because you have 2 perfect rectangles, whatever is left, that's gonna go towards your cowl. Now for the yarn that I used is Stitch Studio by Nicole, the heather line, and mine is in beige heather. For sizes, I think for the size extra small, you will need only one. This one is 704 yards or 644 meters, and it weighs 280 grams or 9.8 ounces. It requires a 4mm hook, but I used a 6mm hook because if I would have used a 4mm hook, I feel like the garment would have been a little stiff. But because I like my garments bouncy and, you know, kind of, I don't know, loose, I went up 2 sizes. It's 100% acrylic, feels very soft and very nice. It feels really like natural. I bought it at AC Moore. Depending on your tension, how you crochet, for extra small, one of these should be enough. If you're wearing small to medium, I used 1 full and a little bit of the second one. Don't ask me how many yards I used from the second one. I don't measure it with the measuring tape, you know, I just keep going until I finish. So if you wear size small, medium, I think even large, you should be fine with 2 skeins. All the sizes up, I think extra large, 2 extra large, you might need 3. Again, depends on the tension how you crochet. If I would have used a 4mm hook, I would have probably needed at least 2 of these. Anyhow, my philosophy on yarn is I'd rather buy a little more and have a leftover than I will not have enough. Now I'm going to show you on a small sample like I usually do, and you're going to be able to see how this sleeveless cowl neck sweater is made. The pattern is beginner friendly. The only stitch that you need to know is how to half double crochet. If you don't know how to half double crochet, I will link a tutorial of mine from a million years ago, but it's still okay to watch, down in the description box. And other than that, grab your yarn, crochet hook, let's get to work. For this sample, I will be using some Red Heart yarn, which requires a 5.5mm hook, but I will be using my 6mm hook or J10. I have the picture here. The sweater would be crocheted from, let's say, top to bottom, and this is the way you are gonna be crocheting the lengthwise. So we are gonna chain a number of chains which equals to the length of the garment, and then we are gonna be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until we reach the width of the project. As I said, guys, the project is super easy. I don't even know what to explain here, but to make a rectangle, let's chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17, 18, 19, 20. You will add one more chain. Then you will yarn over, insert the hook into the second chain from the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. The chain 2 will count as the first half double crochet, and then we have our second one. Yarn over, insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 chains, yarn over, pull through 3. So easy. Alright, one more. Yarn over, insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. This is how you're gonna do till the end of this row. Actually, I have 2 more projects using this exact stitch, and I will link them down in the description box. The one of them is called a 2-way ribbed crochet scarf, and you can use this exact same stitch to make a scarf 2 different ways. Also, I think last week I posted how to make a hat using this exact stitch. It's a very simple and very quick stitch, so check out the tutorials down in the description box. I hope you will like them, guys. And you can make so many things using this stitch. It's just so easy, and it goes fast. And we have a few more left. If you're a very beginner, and even not a very beginner, I would suggest for you guys to count your stitches so you have a perfect rectangle. Now the interesting part begins. We are going to turn our work, chain 2, that will count as our first half double crochet. Then we are going to put a half double crochet into the back loop. So you can see this V shape. We're gonna yarn over, and we are gonna catch the back loop. You're gonna move to the second one, insert the hook into the back loop only, and repeat the same step. Just pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 3 chains or 3 loops. Yarn over. This is your V shape. Insert the hook into the back loop, pull up the yarn, yarn over, pull through 3. And one more time. Try to turn the work towards you so you can see the top of it, and it's going to be easier for you to see the V shape. You're going to insert the hook into the middle of the V and catching the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. Now you see the ridge forming in the front, and there are no ridges in the back. And this is how you go with the second row. Go all the way till the end. I will meet you here. When you come to the very last one, I like to catch both loops, so it's a little more sturdy. We're gonna turn our work, chain 2, and repeat the same exact steps. So now turn your work so you see the V's clearly. Again, the first one you are skipping, you are inserting the hook into the second one, into the back loop, pull up a loop, pull through all 3 chains. Again, yarn over, insert the hook into the middle of the V, catch the back loop, pull the yarn through it, yarn over,
pull through 2, and again all the way till the end of this row. Now the ridge is forming on this side. This one is from the previous row. You will have ridges on each side of the garment. You just will have to decide which side is going to be the wrong side, which one is going to be the right side. Again, when you reach your chain 2, I like to insert the hook through both loops and half double crochet. Again, turn your work and chain 2, yarn over, insert the hook into the second stitch, into the back loop, and there is how we go. Now you see the ridges on this side and one ridge on this side, and this is how the sweater was made. So I just made it as wide as I needed, you know, to fit me. I'm gonna go ahead and add a couple more rows, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have 10 rows here. I think that would be enough to show you an example. So when you put your last half double crochet, just chain 1 and pull up a loop and cut off the yarn. So this is going to be your front panel or back panel, it doesn't matter. Okay, now we are gonna make the back one, and as I was crocheting this, I thought, dang, I could make this garment with vertical stripes. In the same time, I will show you how to change the colors if you don't know. We will again the same exact way start with a slip knot and chain 20. Actually, let me do this to save your time. I'm gonna go ahead and crochet 2 rows, and I will be right back where we're gonna have to change the color. Okay, this will be my last one. I yarn over. I like to insert the hook through both of them of the loops, and when I have 3 loops, I will take my other color. This one is from Walmart, the Mainstays yarn in whatever gray. I don't exactly remember. So we will make a slip knot. I like to leave them a tad larger than the regular one because I will have to pull it. Sorry, that's my neighbors. I'll have to pull it through all of 3 of the loops and chain 2. For the tails, I like to tie them together. Like this. But if you're more comfortable sewing them in, that's totally fine. Do not cut the purple tail or the purple yarn, because you're gonna need it for your next rows. Okay, so we chained 2. Now we're gonna yarn over and do exactly the same steps, or repeat the same steps like we are used already. And let me crochet a few more so you guys can see how it looks like. Alright, this is what we have, and this is the other side. Let's make the whole row and we'll see what happens. Okay, we're gonna turn the work. I'm curious to see how it's gonna look like with 2 colors. And remember, we are skipping the first one, inserting the hook into the second, and finish this row. Alright, so now to change the color, you are gonna end with the 3 loops, and you're gonna pick up your first color, yarn over and pull through the loops. Just make sure do not pull too tight, leave it a little room so you don't end up with, you know, your project gathering on the sides. Don't cut the second color, just continue working. yarn over. We're skipping the very first one, moving to the second, and we will repeat the same steps. Okay, here I finished the last row. Now the benefit for changing the colors every 2 rows instead of every 1 row is that you are gonna end up with minimum tails to sew in or to tie. Everything is gonna be on one side, and these stitches are not as long, they can easily be sewn in. This is gonna be our front where we have our ridges like waves. Now you have, this is the front and this is the front. Now what we're gonna do is just fold them like we would close a book, so the wrong side is facing us. Now we're gonna sew the parts. You're gonna have to decide how much you want to leave for your arm side or armhole. You can start sewing from the bottom going up, and you would stop there where you want the whole part, the whole top part to be your opening for the arm. Now for my curvy girls, some of the women I noticed have a really thin waist, but when it comes down to thighs or larger booty, or sometimes it's so difficult to choose clothes to fit you perfectly on the waist, but it doesn't fit perfectly on the bottom. If it fits on the booty, here is like, okay, where is the spot for my waist? So if you have this case, what I would suggest for you to do, guys, instead of starting sewing from the very bottom, leave some slits and start sewing where your waist is. This way your booty or your thighs will be free. You will still have the length you want. You are not gonna be too tight right here and too baggy right here. Before you start sewing, you actually have to count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. So there are 13 on this side as well. Don't forget, you're gonna start with your chain 2. So insert the hook, and I like to go through both V's. So go through this V, and what I immediately do is tie these two together, and this is how I go. So I go through the next V and through this stitch. Here you don't have a V because we worked into the back loops when we started, and you will have a one full V and just a loop. Again, try not to make it too tight because you don't want it gathered on the sides, but not too loose that it falls apart. And you go in each stitch go one more time over the same exact last stitch, and this time I like to take the needle through the loop that formed, pull up and cut off the yarn. Now for the shoulders, let's do only 4 rows. It is totally up to you how long you want to make the cowl. Again, the number of chains will depend on how long you want the cowl to be. So let's see how long I want to make it. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. I think 8 is enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and make 12 rows, and I will be right back. A little tip here: before you decide which part is gonna be wrong, right and wrong of your collar, you should pay attention what you have here. Is it a wave that comes from the bottom up, the ridge goes upwards, or it's going towards the bottom? I have here, the wave comes up and goes down, up and down. This part should be the front of the collar. Yes, and it's gonna go inside, because when I sew I will turn it to the right side. Make sure to stretch it a little bit so it doesn't gather on the sides. If it happened that you have a tail, just tie them together. I tie everything together so God forbid anything falls apart. Okay, keep in mind this is our wrong side. The right side is inside, and we are gonna turn the garment to the wrong side as well, because when we're gonna start sewing we don't want nothing that is not pretty on the right side. Alright, now this is what I was talking about. See, this goes down and then up. Same here. This one goes down and then up, and then the ridge. We just put them close to each other. And if you did change colors, let me zoom you in, maybe that will help. If you did change colors, make sure to catch this one, the color change as well. And here you will have some V's and some standing alones. Just go through all of them. Here I would pick one. Here I would pick one from the color and obviously include the change of the color, and then grab this V and go around. I don't like to slip stitch because it's gonna be too thick. Now we're gonna have to make sure that the very bottom of this ridge coincides with the bottom of this ridge. So what we're gonna do is grab the yarn from the bottom of this ridge and grab the yarn the stitches that coincide. Again, so if I move this one, you can see I'm grabbing a couple of strands from the neckline and a couple of strands from the cowl. And now we have our ridges coincide, so we are gonna pick up a strand or two from the top of the ridges, and here the same. Just try to balance it out, but make sure the grooves coincide. This is our right side. If we fold the neck, it will look like this. Well, if you are gonna use a size larger than the yarn requires, size hook larger than the yarn requires, you will end up with something a little more flowy and that drapes more easily. If you want it stiff, this is how it's gonna be. These are our sleeves, and this is the finished product. And this is it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you'd like more crochet fashion tutorials, give this video a thumbs up so I know. So let's see if we can get this tutorial to 100 likes, and I will know that from now on I will include more fashion. You guys have a great weekend. I will see you on Wednesday right before Christmas with a tutorial on how to crochet this scarf, because when I showed you how to crochet the hat, a few of you had asked me how if I would make a tutorial on how to crochet this scarf. I will make it and post it on Wednesday, December the 20th. So I will see you Wednesday. Thank you guys. Bye bye.